Hello, and welcome back to Zinc Sterling. Please take a moment to pause this video so you can write down the materials needed in the following processes. I'm Tim Zink, and today we're going to be looking at a petite variation of the Viking twist cuff. You're going to start this off with your four 20 gauge round wire 16-inch segments, and you're going to alternate them twist wire, smooth wire, twist wire, smooth wire. And you're going to line up the ends and solder them together. For this joining, you will be using hard solder. Once you have the four pieces soldered together, you're going to get your 12 gauge section of round wire. You're going to heat the end, add a little bit of mighty flux, then flow some solder onto the end of it. Then you'll line it up to the center of your four wires, heat the entire area, and solder that together to join it into one piece. Now that all five pieces of wire have been soldered together, you will clamp the end in a vise tightly, and then you will start your twisting process. I start out here doing it in fast motion just to get past the edge of the bench, but once I get past the edge of the bench, there's a close-up of the twisting process so you can get a better look at how I do it. I always start with the wire that's furthest away from me and closest to the vise. And you're just gonna push it under into the opposite side of where it came from. And then once again, working with the furthest wires away from you in the stack of three, you're gonna push them over and back to the other side. So you're constantly alternating, and you wanna lock the wires with your thumb and pointer finger as much as possible so you get your twist very tight and very even. Any spaces will show up later whenever you go to bend the cuff to shape. I know this video is very similar to the last video I posted, but due to some major sound issues that ended up happening with that video, I decided to remake a very similar video so you can get the same processes, but this time with cleaner sound. Also, I'd like to take some time in this long sequence of wire twisting to ask you guys what your ideas or what your suggestions are for videos you would like to see, whether it's certain styles of jewelry or recreations of pieces of jewelry you've seen that maybe, I'm not one for copying other artists' work one for one or anything like that, but if you have any pieces of jewelry or techniques that maybe you like the way they look but you don't know how to accomplish it, please put it in the comments below, and I'll definitely mark it down on a list and I'll get to everything just as soon as I can. Once you finish twisting the wire all the way to the end, you're just going to trim the ends off flush, and you're going to cut it to the length you need for the size of bracelet you're going for. So for this one, it's a woman's medium, and I just use a template to get that length. You're going to heat the ends, add a little bit of Mighty Flux, and then add hard solder to it once again. I try to use hard solder for most of the flows in the beginning because it's not, even if it breaks down the last solder joint, it's really not going to do anything because all of the soldering that was done before has already been cut off this piece of jewelry. Once the ends are soldered together, I use a rawhide mallet to just even out the twist on it a little bit. If there's any uneven spots, it'll push it all and kind of line it up. There wasn't much on this one because I got the wire wrap pretty tight. And then I get out my dapping block, and this is where I'm gonna get my two 6mm discs of 20 gauge. I'm just gonna dome those over into just a shallow dome. It doesn't need to be a half sphere or anything crazy like that, just a nice shallow dome so that our end caps will have a good rounded end to them. Now that the end pieces have a nice dome to them, I take my two 4x8mm pieces and I add sterling to one piece and my maker's mark TZ to the other, and these will be laid over the top of the end caps once they're assembled. At this point, I will use a swage block in conjunction with a dapping punch to curve the two plates that I just stamped so that they can be sweat soldered onto the end caps once they are fully assembled. I've taken the piece of 5.5mm strip 20 gauge and I've wrapped it around the ends of my bracelet so that I made two small cuffs that fit perfectly on each end of this bracelet. These will be cut and then the domed piece will be soldered to the ends of them, and that's actually what will make the end caps. Now that I have all the pieces that I need to assemble the end caps, I'll start by cutting two pieces of hard solder, and I will use those to solder the two cuffs together, making two pieces of tubing. Then I will add those to the domed off discs, and I will use medium solder to join those together. And then after filing down the discs and getting the final shape of the end caps, I will then sweat solder the two appliques on with easy solder. Here I'm just using a flat-faced hammer and a tapered roll pin punch to just very gently tap these tubes into very good round. I don't want them to be wonky or oblong for whenever I solder them onto the cuff. I want to get a nice good solid solder all the way around the twisted core wire. Once I finished filing down the end caps into the shape that I want them and got them to almost a polish, I will solder them onto the ends of the cuff core with medium solder. That way I can use easy solder to sweat solder on the two final pieces. And here to follow the sweat soldering process, I am adding the easy solder to the back of the appliques, and then I'm melting them onto, flowing them onto the back, and then I will add more flux, and I will add flux to the end caps, line them up, heat them until it flows, and just very gently push down on them so I get a nice even seal all the way around on it. You don't want any catched lips or anything. You want to make sure that your appliques are bent to the actual curvature of the end cap. Otherwise you're going to have either a place that catches really hard, or you're just going to have a lot of cleanup filing to do at the end. And then now that everything is soldered up nicely, I'm just going to do a pre-polish on the end caps and all the wires to make sure that I don't have any areas or issues that I need to go back and look at or file over. I just want to make sure I don't have any scuffs or anything before I do my final shaping. And then after it's shaped, I will actually kiln harden it off camera. You won't see that at all. It's about a 4-hour process. You put it in a kiln, bring it up to 575 degrees, hold it there for an hour, but then it has to room cool all the way back, the entire kiln back to room temperature, and that takes several hours, and that's going to leave your bracelet springy and nice and easy. Here I'm just using a rawhide mallet to shape it on a cuff shaping mandrel, which I was kind of in the top right corner of the frame. You got to move it around a lot to really get it where you want it, and so I was kind of off camera a little bit with it. I just want to make sure I got the shape nice and even. Now that the piece has been spring hardened in a kiln, I will add some liver of sulfur to some just shy of boiling water. I will dissolve the liver of sulfur into it, and then I'll add the cuff to it, and that's just going to patina the whole piece to a nice charcoal black. And then from there I'll use steel wool to clean it back up and then do my final polish. And here I'm just finishing up with the final cleaning process with some Dawn dish soap and water. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that some people actually make the attempt to make it and send me pictures of it. Any video that I put on YouTube, it's not something that I'm trying to hide my processes or anything like that. I want other people to recreate the stuff that I do. My goal here is just to teach, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video or thought it was useful. Send it to your friends, share the link, and if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, please put it in the comment section below. Thank you.